Hi friends, here in this video we are going to see a problem on bending stresses. For that, here is the question. So let's get started. The question is, an I section as shown in figure, the diagram is given, is simply supported over a span of 5 meter, that is the length of the beam given. I'll write the data. Length of the beam is 5 meter, which is 5000 mm. If the tensile stress is not to exceed 20 megapascal, sigma suffix t, it is 20 Newton per mm square. We have to find the safe UDL and induced compressive stress. Safe UDL, I'll denote it by small w, that we have to find out, and induced compressive stress is sigma suffix c. So this is the question in front of us. Now I'll start the solution part by drawing the diagram again into the solution. So this is the given diagram. I have placed it onto the axis system, that is x and y. Now the first step would be to divide this figure into three equal parts, or we can say three rectangles here. So here is the first rectangle, this is second, and here is the third. And now as we see, this section is symmetric about y-axis, but it is unsymmetric about x because the top flange and bottom flange, they are having the different dimensions. So since it is unsymmetric about the x-axis, I would be finding the location of x-axis, and that would be called as y bar. Once we get y bar, we can move further into the problem. So here I'll say that since y bar is given by this is the first equation. Now getting all the areas respectively. So therefore area 1 is 160 into 40. It is 6400 mm square. Then y1 value, y1 is the location of x-axis of rectangle 1. And since we are taking the references from the origin, so from the origin the distance of this x-axis is half of 40, which is 20 mm. Then area 2, which is the width of the web, 20 into its height 200, 4000 mm square. y2 is the location of x-axis for the second rectangle, and this x-axis is located at a distance. I'll explain that this is y1 and here this is y2. We have to take the reference from the origin or bottom. So this rectangle 2 starts after 40 mm, so it would be 40 plus half of 200, that would give me this height because I'm taking the references from the bottom. So it is 40 plus half of 200, that gives me 140 mm. Area 3 is 80 into 20, which is 1600 mm square. Y3 is the location of x-axis for rectangle 3 from the bottom, and this x-axis is located at, it is 40 plus 200 plus half of this 20. So therefore y3 value is 250 mm. Now putting all these values in equation 1 will give me the answer of y bar. So when I put all the values in equation 1, so after adding up all the areas into the denominator, now I would be getting the answer of y bar, and it comes out to be 90.76. It is 90.67 in actual, and this distance is from the bottom because the references are taken from the bottom. Similarly, I'll get y bar from top as well by taking the total height, which is 40 plus 200, 240 plus 20, that is 260 minus 90.67, and this gives me the y bar value from top, and the answer is 169.33 mm. After getting the y bar values, I'll locate the x-axis. And how to locate it? First of all, from the bottom, the distance is 90.67, and when I compare, like this y2 value is 140, so the centroid or the x-axis for this system would be below y2 because this is 140, and our value of y bar is 90.67, so I'll just denote it over here. So this is the x-axis for the complete system. Here I get the centroid. This is the y bar value, 90.67 mm from bottom, and from top 169.33 mm. So I have got the location of x-axis. Now after getting this location, in the problem they have given that it is a simply supported beam carrying UDL. So simply supported beam bends in a sagging pattern. I'll just explain it over here, that if we have a simply supported beam as given into the problem, having the length 5 meter as mentioned, carrying UDL, and the intensity of UDL is what we have to find out here. That's the question. So when this UDL acts, the beam bends in a sagging manner, like we can see over here. So the top layers are in compression and the bottom layers are in tension. It means from the bottom, the value which we have got, that value is of YT, and from the neutral axis to the top, that would be YC. So denoting it here, this is YT value, and here we have YC value. Now after getting the Y value, the next step would be to get the moment of inertia for this complete I section, and for that, since mi about the neutral axis, which is nothing but the x-axis for the complete system, we need to find this. The same x-axis is nothing but the neutral axis, so about it we have to find the moment of inertia. And now when I see over here, the x-axis of the complete system is located at 90.67 mm from bottom, whereas the x-axis for rectangle 1, 2 and 3 are at different distances. So the distance between the x-axis for complete I section and the x-axis for rectangle 1, that distance would be called as h1. Next, the distance between the x-axis for complete system and rectangle 2, that distance would be called as h2. And at last, the distance between x-axis and for the x-axis of complete system and for third rectangle, it is h3. So it is better to find these h1, h2 and h3 values here. That would be helpful for us to calculate the moment of inertia by using the parallel axis theorem. So h1 is, I can say that since y bar is 90.67, From that I'll subtract this y1 value, that is 20, and that would give me h1 value. So when I'm finding the mi, first I'll say that h1 value is 90.67 minus half of 40. So h1 value will be 70.67 mm. It is better to calculate these values. It would be helpful to find the moment of inertia. And h2 is, now h2 is this distance. Here I can say y2 is known to us. From y2, if I subtract y bar, that will give me h2. So it is 140 minus 90.67, which is 49.33 mm. And finally the h3 value, since from the top it is 169.33, I want this h3, so I'll subtract 10 mm, which is the half of 20 here, to get h3. Now after getting all these values, the mi about the neutral axis I is given by Ixx1 plus Ixx2 plus Ixx3, and this I'll keep it as the first equation. Now Ixx1 is the moment of inertia for the first rectangle but about the neutral axis, so it is given by parallel axis theorem. And why I'm using parallel axis theorem? The reason being simple, that x-axis for the complete system is at 90.67 from bottom, whereas x-axis for rectangle 1 is at distance y1, so there is distance h1 between the two axes. That is why we have to use parallel axis theorem. And bd cube by 12 is the moment of inertia of rectangle 1 about its own x-axis. B is 160, D is 40. Area 1 value we already have, and h1 we have calculated separately. It was 70.67. See, this is helping us in the calculation of the moment of inertia. So on calculating this, I am getting the answer of Ixx1. It is 32.82 into 10 raised to 6. After getting Ixx1 in a similar manner, I'll go for Ixx2 by using the parallel axis theorem. As again now the axes, they are at different distances. The x-axis for the complete system and the x-axis for rectangle 2, which is at y2 distance. So there is h2 distance between the two axes. So B is, for the second figure, B is 20 and D is 200. Area 2 is 4000, already calculated. H2 value is 49.33. Ixx2 comes out to be 23.07 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. Similarly, Ixx3 for the third rectangle. B and D values, B is 80, D is 20. Area 3 already we have. H3 value has been calculated, which is 159.33 square. So therefore Ixx3, it comes out to be 40.67 into 10 raised to 6 mm raised to 4. Now after getting all these values, I'll put them in equation number 1 to get the value of I, which is about the neutral axis. So therefore now all of them are having 10 raised to 6 common, so I'll just add the numbers. That is 32.82 plus 23.07 plus 40.67, and 10 raised to 6 is taken as common. So from this I am getting the value of I, moment of inertia about the neutral axis, and it comes out to be 96.56 into 10 raised to 6. Now after getting the value of moment of inertia, in the question they have said we have to find the value of safe UDL. So I'll use the flexural formula because this problem belongs to the bending stresses. So by using the flexural formula, which is m upon I is equal to sigma b upon y, and that is also equal to capital E by R. But since in this problem the radius of curvature is neither given nor asked, even the Young's modulus is not given, so I'll be using only this much part. And for that also, since here because of bending there is tensile as well as compressive stress, so the same formula becomes m upon I is equal to sigma t upon yt, that is tensile stress upon the distance from neutral axis to the topmost or bottommost layer. In this problem I'll explain what is to be taken, and sigma c upon yc. Now sigma t value was given in the question, it was 20, so therefore m upon I value is 96.56, 10 raised to 6. Sigma t was given as 20, and yt value from y bar, we have found out that yt is 90.67 because the bottom layers are in tension for a simply supported beam when loaded, so it is 90.67, and here I am getting the answer of m, which is 21.30 into 10 raised to 6 Newton mm. Now after getting this m value, we have to remember that for a simply supported beam with UDL, the maximum bending moment is given by WL square by 8. And how this formula comes from, for that you all can refer my video in which I had explained the various cases of maximum bending moment for different kinds of beam. So from that we get WL square by 8. So I'll shift instead of m, that it is equal to WL square by 8. Therefore 21.30 into 10 raised to 6. W is what we have to find out, length in terms of mm because moment is in terms of Newton mm. So it is 5000 mm divided by 8. From this I'll get the answer of W, and it comes out to be 6.82 Newton per mm because that is the intensity of UDL, and this same value can be converted in kilonewton. Since 1 Newton is 10 raised to minus 3 kilonewton, 1 mm is 10 raised to minus 3 meter, gets cancelled. So therefore W value comes out to be 6.82 kilonewton per meter. That's the first answer. It means whenever we are finding UDL and if it is in terms of Newton per mm, the same value is there in case of kilonewton per meter as well. That we have proved here. Now the second part of the question is we have to find the value of compressive stress. For that I'll use the same equation, which is the flexural formula. Here sigma t upon yt is equal to sigma c upon yc. It is also equal to m upon I. We could have even found out by m upon I is equal to sigma c upon yc. From that also we'll get the same answer. Now sigma t value is given in the problem. It is 20. Yt is 90.67. Sigma c is what we have to find out, and yc 169.33. On calculating this, I am getting the answer of sigma c, and it is 37.35 Newton per mm square. That's the second answer. So we have seen the problem of bending stresses in which two things were asked. We had to calculate the value of the safe UDL and the value of the compressive stress, which we have calculated. And with this, the problem gets completed. At the end, if you all find my videos helpful, you all can like, share, comment and subscribe our channel and share it amongst your family and friends. Thanks for watching.